Undergrill filters are a filter that have been around as long as almost aquariums in general. They were pushed out of the market by their own manufacturers, but are making a comeback. So let's look at the Undergrill filter, how it works, and more about it. Stay tuned. So the Undergrill filter works on a very basic concept. Biological bacteria that you need to filter your water grows on surface area, and the surface area has to have oxygen coming to it in the form of water movement. So what is one of the largest surface areas in your aquarium already without you doing anything? Your substrate. All the little gravels that are in there have all those sides that bacteria can grow on, and they're small enough that there's hundreds or thousands of little gravels in there that can all grow bacteria. So to take advantage of that, you need a way to get water to move through the gravel, down, up, left, right, somehow, to be able to get the bacteria to grow in there and really flourish as your filter. So what was come up with decades ago was you simply use something like this. Plastic plate that you can see it there has holes in it or slits in it to allow water to move through it. I was going to take and pull one of my Undergrill filters out of storage and show the full breakdown, but this is easier for me to get to, so I'll just show you this piece and explain from there. So you have your plate and you put your gravel on top, and this is where a lot of people mess up. You need at least an inch, if not more, so 2 to 3 inches of gravel on your plate. You want something that's large enough that it won't fall through the holes or the slits or whatever your plate has, but not too large that you lose your surface area. So you got to find a good mix there. There are methods that you can put screen down and all that kind of stuff, but the smaller your gravel or your substrate is, the less water flow through it, so you don't get the bacteria growth that you would need. So it's a balance there of your surface area in the size of your gravel and to get the surface area and the water flow. And the way it works is you put your gravel here, and these tubes, these ports here, have tubes going up, uplift tubes. And you have something pulling water up through. Traditionally, it's an air stone. You put an air stone down there, and as air bubbles go up, it creates a vacuum behind the air bubbles because the bubble moves, pulling water up with it. The water goes up. This is somewhere else a lot of people mess up, because they'll put power heads and different stuff on it, and you have multiple ports here, a couple more down the end maybe, and it's good to have multiple ports. That really benefits the flow and makes your Undergrill filter work more efficiently the more ports that you have, but only if they're flowing at the same rate. So you put a power head on this one and an air stone on this one, that power head is going to pull a whole lot more than this air stone will. Water takes the path of least resistance, and so water comes down this one and up that one, totally bypassing your gravels and the filter. So if you use power heads, make sure that you use power heads of the same power on every port. You can cap off a port if you have, like this one has 4, 2 up there, 2 down here, so you can cap this one off and you still have 3. You can cap 2 of them off and still use 2. That's perfectly fine. But you want to make sure you have them sealed so that no water can go around the cap, because then you have a least resistance thing again. So Mold and stuff will accrue underneath the plate. It's no big deal. It's natural. It doesn't hurt anything. It doesn't cause any problems. It's fine. You can grow plants in them. The plants actually love an underground filter because the roots are better oxygenated than in a regular sand or plant substrate. Because remember, we're pulling water through the gravel, which pulls oxygen through, so it gets nutrients and oxygen to the plant's roots better than your typical substrates. Also, when you gravel vac these, do not clean the entire surface area, the entire plate, in one sitting. That's another place that people mess up. Remember, this is your biological bacteria growing in this gravel. So if you vacuum the whole thing, you'll wipe out a lot of bacteria. It might not crash your tank, but it's a risk that I personally am not willing to take. So the way that I gravel vac a tank with underground filter is I will do a section. I will gravel vac this section of the underground filter this week. Next week I'll move down and gravel vac this section, and continue until I go through the whole plate. So we talked about the mulm underneath it. Yeah, debris and stuff will build up underneath, and it's not an issue. The stuff will break down biologically and not cause any problems. You have your bacteria there on the gravel that will eat all the ammonias from its breakdown, eat all the nitrites, and it's not a problem at all because it's right there with the filtration system, and it's all self-contained and taken care of. Now, part of the problem in the past is people were instructed to pull the plate up and clean underneath it. Horrible, horrible idea. You don't do that, because when you pull your plate up, number one, you could break your plate. Two, you're disrupting all of your gravel, so your entire filtration, you're disrupting it. Stirring all that up, all the mulm underneath it, you don't need to do that. There's no reason to get under your plate. It's not like, here, I could probably stick my head under here. My head's probably too big to fit under there. And look up at the underground filters in the tanks and see the mulm and stuff. But normally, you're not going to be sticking your head under your tank and looking up at the bottom of it. So it's not a problem. Why did the manufacturers put out bad PR, not so true PR about underground filters? So they put out the bad information about underground filters that wasn't necessarily completely true, so they wouldn't sell that product. Now, why would a manufacturer not want to sell that product? Because they come out with another product that they can make more money off of. With your underground filter, you don't have to have any special cartridges or spinning wheels or flashy anything. It's really simple. Simple works. The manufacturers, though, realize with their brand new, state-of-the-art, just developed hang on the back filters that they have those little cartridges in, that they could get repeat sales if people would use the hang on back filters and replace those cartridges every 2 weeks, every month. And they were losing that opportunity with the underground filters. So the manufacturers, in a kind of covert method, put out negative information about their own product to get customers to switch to the brand new, newly developed hang on the back filters so that they can make more money. Is the underground filter a bad filter? No. Does it do its job? Yes. Is it hard to clean? Not at all. Does the muck and stuff under it cause a problem? Nope. Do fish get stuck in them? not if you do it correctly. So if you take the uplift tubes off and you just leave an open hole, well, that's a cave. Fish go in caves. Yeah, they'll go down in there. But if you take the tube off and you cap it, nothing's going in there. It's not a problem. Are underground filters perfect for every tank? No. There are instances where underground filters aren't good. If you have, okay, for example, I kept crayfish once. The crayfish actually burrowed through the substrate, through the gravel, got to the plate, broke the plate open, and climbed under one of these channels to make its burrow. So it basically destroyed the underground filter's plate. So it wouldn't be good for something like that. For large digging cichlids and stuff, it might not be ideal, but you can make some modifications to make it work for you. In that case, you know, if the cichlid digs a hole in the gravel all the way down to the plate, where you can see the plate, then the water takes the path of least resistance there and bypasses all the gravel. So the way that you would fix that is you would put something, a barrier of some sort, say the plastic light diffuser that they call egg crate, put that on top of it, put your gravel in the holes of the egg crate. Then your large cichlid can't dig down all the way to the plate because it hits that egg crate, and there are still pockets of gravel that will do the filtration for you that he can't move. Some people think it's more complicated to use the underground filter, but to me it's not. It's very simple. I mean, you can see an uplift tube. I can't figure out how to point in this video, but you can see an uplift tube right here over in that tank. Yeah, I run in some of my tanks, just for extra filtration, I'll run the underground filters and a sponge filter, and a hang on the back filter, just because I'm trying to work on redundancy and have more than one filter for my tanks in case one fails. But I like underground filters. There's companies coming out with new versions of them now. There's companies coming out with modular versions of them. They're making a comeback because people were learning that back in the 80s, really, the manufacturers were telling us what would make them money, not necessarily the truth or the whole truth in what's going on with the hobby. So what's your thoughts on underground filters? You know, I can get them cheap at club auctions and swaps and stuff because people have been told for decades that they're horrible, they're outdated, that nobody new in the thing uses them. But I think that's fixing to change. I think they're making a good resurgence because companies are coming out with new versions of them and they're becoming popular again. But what's your thoughts on them? Do you like them? Have you used them? Have you heard all these myths about having to clean under the plate and it building up some deadly gas under there that's just going to destroy your tank one day? Let me know in the comments. And do all those things that YouTube wants of subscribing and liking and sharing and hitting the notification bell, all that stuff that you know that you're supposed to do. My channel really benefits from it when you do, and I really appreciate it. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time.